Hey everybody, this is David, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. First, let's start off with the characters. A lot of the characters in this movie are so great. The story is great, the score is great, but when we come down to the characters, I want to start off with Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. These three characters are my favorite characters in this film. I think they're my favorite characters throughout the entire trilogy, but this movie is the one where they're forced, the three of them are like the holy trinity of this film, where it's only these three, and they go in this adventure, and their chemistry together is really fun, especially Gimli and Legolas, because, there's this whole rivalry between elves and dwarves, and to see these two together, there was a tension between them in the last movie, Fellowship of the Ring. But now we get to see them working a little bit more together, even though they're like taking slight jabs at each other. There's this like competitive rivalry, but like in a friendly sense, where they're like both of them are like counting the orcs or the Uruk-hai that they're taking down to see who can kill the most. And I thought that was a little fun treat. And Aragorn, the great thing about him is Viggo Mortensen is an amazing actor. And it was great seeing his character starting to take his place that we know he'll eventually become. The King of Gondor, you know? And it was cool seeing him lead the war at Helm's Deep, because I think that was what was going to give us an idea what kind of king he was going to be. He's just not some king who will give orders. He's the kind of king who will stand up and be beside the men that he orders around and fight with them. And that's what makes, I think, Aragorn such a great character that you can get behind. And personally, my favorite character throughout the entire trilogy. Another great thing about this film is Gandalf's return in the film. Gandalf, who we thought died in the last film, is revealed to have been alive, and now instead of being called Gandalf the Grey, he's being called Gandalf the White. The difference, there's not really much. He does seem a little bit more wiser and elegant as Gandalf the White, but I think he was more of a douchebag in as Gandalf the Grey. No, there's still some douchey qualities about him. But anyways, but he's not like a bad douche. He's always like this good douche who he just has to be tough with the people that he's with, because they have a little screw looses here and there. But Gandalf, you gotta love Gandalf. He's also one of my favorite characters in this whole franchise. So Ian McKellen just does a fantastic job playing this role. If I had to pick between him and Magneto, I totally go with Gandalf. I think that character is Ian McKellen, and I love just seeing him play that role. I'm also gonna add in Merry and Pippin in this review, because I didn't mention them the last time, because in the last movie they seem to be more of like the comedy relief. In this movie, Merry and Pippin actually have a lot to do in this film, and I actually enjoyed them a lot more, and it made me realize how great the character development in these movies are. That you see Merry and Pippin start off as these, comedy relief type characters who are just there for comedy, but in this movie they play a more important role, where they have to get the ants, the trees, all together to help join the war against Mordor and Isengard. So, Merry and Pippin are awesome to me in this movie. Frodo and Sam, I know I was a little bit harsh on Frodo and Sam last time because I didn't like the bromance that they had, but in this movie I actually liked Sam and Frodo. And I think the reason for that is because I liked that Gollum was added into the mix, and it added this tension between the group, between the three of them, because Frodo was like growing into trusting Gollum, while Sam, he was always a little weary. He wasn't too sure of this Gollum guy. And the great thing about that is that continues on into the next film. And I thought it was really played nicely in this movie. And I didn't feel the sappiness as I did with the Fellowship of the Ring, with Frodo and Sam's relationship. I felt this one was, this is how a friendship between two guys would be, in my opinion, more. You know, there would be a little bit of tension, especially if another dude like joined the group. Like, who's the best friend now? You know, so yeah, that's what was great about it. I enjoyed Frodo and Sam a lot more in this movie than I did in Fellowship. The characters in Rohan, King Theoden, and his niece and his nephew, I thought those were great characters added into the mix. They definitely brought a lot of new, interesting takes on Middle Earth, because we saw the Elves Kingdom last time. We saw two kingdoms, I think, and we saw the Shire. So it was cool to see some more human territories that we didn't see too much of in the last film. And this is obviously one of the kingdoms, and we get a little hint of Gondor in this one, but not too much. So yeah, that was great. Another character I thought was really cool was Faramir, and the brother of Boromir. And there's a really cool scene in the extended version that shows what their relationship was like between those two brothers. And I really thought it's kind of sad that Boromir, Sean Bean, died in the last film. But Faramir, he's not like Boromir, but he's a really cool character too. You get to see a little bit about him. He has a lot of depth to him also, where he is in the same position as his brother at one point in the movie too, where he is tested by the ring. But unlike Boromir, Faramir actually passes the test and lets Frodo and Sam go to continue on their journey. And I thought that was cool. I thought that was really cool, and it really contrasted well with Boromir's character from the first film. So the Yorukai in this movie are, something I really like about the first two films is the Yorukai. In the third movie, the Yorukai aren't used. The Yorukai are those big black creatures that they look like demons from hell, and they are freaky. I remember when I first saw the movie, I literally thought the makeup on those characters, on those actors, were really good. Extras, whatever, they freaked me out when I first saw the first Lord of the Rings, especially that character Lurtz, the leader of the Yorukai from the first film, freaked me out. And in this movie, I'm glad they were used at Helm's Deep, because I think Helm's Deep is my favorite battle, because the Yorukai feel so threatening and scary that that's probably the reason I like it more than the Battle of Gondor and the Battle of Mordor, at the final battle in the last movie. But I'll get to that tomorrow. But yeah, the Battle of Helm's Deep to me is just so cool. I really enjoyed it. It's probably my favorite battle in the entire trilogy, especially since Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas are there. I think the movie really pulls off something really big and epic, and what comes next is, to me, hard to follow. So yeah. So final thoughts. What are my final thoughts on the film? I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10, guys. I thought this was a perfect film. To me, unlike the last film, which dragged a little bit, I didn't feel Two Towers dragged as much. I actually enjoyed it. Okay, sure, this is the middle of a huge story that's going on, so there's not really a beginning and there's not really an ending. But to me, the middle part, this is, it's like a hamburger. You got the two buns, the one on the top and the one on the bottom, and then you got the meat, and the meat is the really juicy stuff. And to me, that's what the Two Towers is. It's the really good juicy stuff that you love the taste of it. And that probably sounds weird, but believe me, Two Towers for me, I know a lot of people will say Fellowship is their favorite or Return of the King is their favorite, but for me, the Two Towers is my favorite Lord of the Rings film. And I just explained everything right. Like, I can't even think of one bad thing. To me, the parts that might seem slow to me don't drag like Fellowship did. Fellowship to me dragged a little bit. To me, Two Towers is the perfect pacing. Even the part where Arwen returns, like, it doesn't drag to me. It's perfect pacing. Maybe it's because they don't have a big role in this movie, so there's not too much of that romance stuff between her and Aragorn. But yeah, I mean, the only way this movie will drag is if you watch the extended versions, because Treebeard has a lot of long moments, and he takes a while talking. But that's why it's good to watch the regular version in this case, because there's not too much of that. They cut out. I think they cut out enough of Treebeard scenes. Now, that's not to say to not watch the extended version of The Two Towers, because I think there's a lot of great scenes that were cut out that are not in this version. Not just Treebeard. There's other scenes with Aragorn and Legolas, Gimli, Gandalf, all those characters, Frodo, Sam, Merry, Pippin. There's some great moments that are in the extended versions that are still worthy of checking out. Treebeard doesn't slow down too much. He's at a good pace, I think. So it does get annoying towards the end though with Treebeard a little bit, but other than that, guys, this is a great film. So if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, which, like, guys, this movie's been out for more than 10 years. This whole trilogy has been out for more than 10 years. Go check it out. It's a great film. Until next time. Next time, we Return of the King. Don't forget. Be back here. Subscribe to my channel. Like this video. And comment. Because I want to know what you guys think of Lord of the Rings. I think this is a great trilogy. And when I do Return of the King next week, you know, I'm going to move on to The Hobbit. So, until next time.